So, welcome back, and I'm really excited to share with you one of my absolute favorite topics, which is gratitude and journaling. If there's one thing that saved my life, if there's one thing that's elevated my life, if there's one thing that's enriched my life, it's the daily practice of writing in a journal. And that's definitely related to gratitude. It makes me think of that Persian proverb: I cursed the fact I had no shoes until I saw the man who had no feet. And if you are like I think you are, you have a lot of blessings in your life, even if you don't acknowledge them. And, as human beings, we are hardwired for ingratitude. I'm going to repeat that again because it's so fundamentally important. Our brains are actually hardwired for ingratitude. Neurobiologists call it the negativity bias of the brain. And it served us well thousands of years ago when conditions were a lot rougher than they are right now. When we were very tribal, when if we strayed from the herd, we would be eaten by saber-toothed tigers or we would die of starvation. And so our brains were literally manufactured in a way so that we focused on what the shock could be. We were focused on what the threats in the environment could be. And here we are now in the modern world. We have so many more blessings around us. Life is a lot easier, even if you're going through a difficult season. And yet our brains are focusing on what's not working in our lives versus what's working in our lives. Even perhaps in your intimate relationships, you're focusing on the few things that might be flaws in your partner versus all the great things. And so what I want to do in this session relatively quickly is to encourage you to do two things. Number one, remember that daily gratitude is the antidote to fear. And positive psychologists like Sonia Lyubomirsky have done some beautiful research. And what they found is this: they've created a term called hedonic adaptation to define the fact that, you know what, you might have a great life. You might buy a new car, let's say. And for the first few months, you're driving the new car until you see other people driving a similar car, or until that new car becomes your new normal. And then you take it for granted. You might get a new promotion at work and it feels really great for a few weeks. And life is very magical until that becomes your new normal. You might have these amazing goals until you achieve those goals, or you buy a new apartment, or you live in a new house, or maybe you get that great relationship you've always wanted to get, or maybe it's fitness. And here's the key thing: that once wow condition eventually becomes your new normal. And so the psychologists like Martin Seligman and Sonia Lyubomirsky, these positive psychologists, they've coined this term hedonic adaptation, which simply says this: something that made you feel grateful at one time eventually becomes ordinary, and so therefore you need to fight that natural inclination towards gratitude. And how do you do that? You write gratitude or you write blessing lists in your journal every single day. And if you do that, what happens is you start to create a pharmacy of mastery in your brain. So I'm going to be very tactical. You go buy a journal. It'll cost you not a lot of money. And you can even do this on your computer, but I personally like writing it out. There's a lot of science that talks about the connection between writing and the brain. And just do a list of 10 things I'm grateful for. And I find I'm often writing the same things, but it could be your health, if you have food on your table. It could be the job that you have. It could be you have loved ones around. It could be that you are in this course with me right now with other amazing people in the tribe who are on the same journey towards mastery and changing the world and living your highest dreams. I don't know what the blessings are in your life. One thing I do know: you have a lot of blessings in your life that you're not acknowledging. And so if you develop this daily practice, the psychologists call it deliberate gratitude. Not just once a year on New Year's Day celebrating the blessings in your life. Make it a ritual, make it a practice, deliberate gratitude by writing in a journal every day. What starts to happen is this: you retrain your brain to focus on the great in your life versus what's not working. You literally start to reverse hypnotize your brain to notice the amazing and the magic versus the ordinary. I mean, I'm no different from you, but I walk down the street and I notice the sunset. I was coming down the street yesterday and I noticed a mother with her child, and the mother was walking the child to school. Like everywhere I go, I notice magic. Everywhere I go, I spot the extraordinary in the ordinary. I look at the sunsets. I see happy people. I see people doing epic work. And when I see people doing epic work, I stop them and I say, do you know how amazing it is that you have a sparkle in your eye as you serve that omelet? Or do you know how wow it is that you are a taxi driver with such optimism? All I'm saying is if you do this every day, you start doing deliberate gratitude based on the psychology of reverse engineering the way your brain works, so that you no longer have this negativity bias, but you have this optimism inclination, let's call it that, your life starts to change. Because the way you see the world, remember this, you don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. And you actually see the world through a perceptual filter, through a lens. And when you clean up that lens, you actually start to see reality. And guess what? You'll see a whole new way of living. And when you do that, your life begins to transform. So here's my loving challenge for you. For the remainder of the program, every single day, pull out your journal and write 10 blessings in your life right now. You'll start to see your life in a fundamentally different way. You'll start to see the magic in seemingly ordinary days. Now, I'm going to give you, as we go through the rest of the program, you're going to get these frameworks that are very original and very practical that will help you install the daily habits of world-class producers, the constant rituals of A players, and help you do the things that will allow you to make history in your own unique way. But this daily practice of writing in your journal really is a game changer. It has worked so well for me. When I've gone through painful seasons of my life, I pulled out my journal and I trained my brain to focus on the good things in that day. And when I've been at the top of the mountain in my life, I celebrated all the wins in my life. And so writing gratitude in a journal really is something that I know is going to be so powerful for you. And that's my wish for you, that you integrate it into your life so that you get some great results over the next few days. Bye.